What is going on, legendary human? Ryan Magic here, and in this video I'm going to be sharing what it takes to be a real man. And the way I'm going to be sharing that is by exploring the 4 main masculine archetypes. Now, if you're new to this channel, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can check out my latest videos and commit yourself to that journey of living your best life. So, this is a massive topic to explore. I've spent probably 150 hours to 200 hours studying this, let alone the time that I've actually lent into becoming more of what is considered to be a real man in the psychological and scientific biological sense, not society's view. But I am going to share with you an article that I read that really summarizes the misconception of the way that society views what is an alpha male. And I've actually recorded this video to help you become a really strong, amazing man that can make a positive mark in the world, and to be able to explain the contrast between a healthy and unhealthy real man, okay? Because if they're unhealthy, it's not a real man. So this is what society views. I literally typed in alpha male into Google, and this is the first article that comes up. An alpha male is self-confident, outgoing, and enterprising. True. The alpha male personality type goes with the alias bad boy, and alpha males are usually men who need their men to be men. What the hell does that even mean? He's the macho guy who exudes confidence with a tad bit of aggression, who is outgoing and demanding and definitely very sexist. Now, this is a way it's the first thing that comes up when I type in alpha male. And that's because it's an accurate reflection of the way that society views what is to be a real man, you got to be an alpha male. That's not true. And if you really pay attention and go through, I'm going to be summarizing, again, 150 to 200 hours of study and not even the implementation that I've gone through to really learn to be the best quality man through practice, which I'm going to talk about in this video, so that you can actually live your best life as a real man. And if you're a woman watching this, big thumbs up. This is fantastic knowledge to know. But that is very inaccurate. And the problem with it is it presupposes that you've got to be this unhealthy, destructive man to be an alpha male who women are going to be attracted to achieve things in the world. But the opposite is true. You can live your most fulfilling and successful life by being the true definition of a real man, which is made up of these 4 masculine archetypes. Now, the best way that you can go about consuming this video is taking notes, but I'm going to explain. This is a very dense topic. There was a book written called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and I've read it a ton of times along with a bunch of other books on what it means to be a real man. So check out the book. It's literally the best book ever. It's my favorite book. And it goes through this in length, but take notes as I go through each of these. But I want you to understand the building blocks behind what are the archetypes and what makes up an archetype. Then I'm going to go through them one by one. So an archetype is almost like an inbuilt character flavor that is innate within every man. In these are masculine archetypes, but there's also feminine archetypes. They kind of exist between the spiritual functioning and laws of the universe and the ego. You just go in between them, archetypes, because they're innate and they're natural within us. But you have to grow and strengthen them to be able to get the most out of them, become a real man. But they're really they're imprinted patterns of behavior that are within us. And they can be categorized as king, warrior, magician, lover. Now, each of these archetypes, there's a series of qualities. These aren't written in the book. This is my interpretation of it by doing a lot of study and really making it practical. This book was written 30 years ago, so I've made these very relevant and practical. But the way that each archetype is structured is that you can be strong or weak in each archetype. You could have someone that has very little king energy, but there's also healthy and unhealthy versions of a king. Someone could have very strong king energy, but there's shadow qualities. There's one active shadow quality and one passive shadow quality to each archetype. So for the king, for example, you've got the tyrant and the weakling. Now, someone that's very tyrannical or very weak has a strong king energy. It's just not in the healthy form. It's in the unhealthy shadow form. And each of the different energy types has a healthy version, which is what you're going to be working towards and building and strengthening within you. And then you've got an unhealthy version. And it's great to be aware of the contrast of both of those. Okay? And the cool thing about it, and this is why that article was rubbish, is the difference between a healthy and unhealthy version. If someone has, because you can't be, you're not going to be in either the healthy or the unhealthy if you've got weak king. You just don't possess much of this archetype. You've got to train it and develop it. But the thing that distinguishes between unhealthy and healthy is the degree to which the man, you, myself, whoever, is connected to their hearts. Legitimately. And I paraphrased and re-languaged this to make it very simple to consume. But a conscious version, a heart-centered version, a connected version is the difference between a king energy being constructive and healthy or destructive and unhealthy and possessing these shadow forms. The degree to which they're connected to the heart. So when we're reading this article, aggressive, sexist, that's not connected to the heart. Macho, when someone's being macho and they're putting people down, they're not connected to their heart. And so as we go through all of these, I'm going to explain what that energy is about. I'm going to give examples, and I'm going to talk about the difference between the constructive, healthy version and the unhealthy version, okay? So take notes, and I want you thinking about, where do you fall into this? What are stronger and weaker qualities that you have in relation to these archetypes? Where are you strong and weak? So let's go through them. I'm actually going to go through the king energy last. And the reason why is because the king archetype is the one that pulls the other three together. And the king energy, for someone to be a real man, they need integration. You've probably heard the term an integrated man. An integrated man is someone that has balance. If there's a man that literally has just one archetype, no matter what archetype it is, they're very unhealthy, because they're imbalanced and unintegrated. And the king is the archetypal energy that pulls the other three into it and then possesses the qualities of a real man in its entirety with integration. So I'm going to start with warrior, then I'm going to go magician, lover, and come back to the king and then tie it all together. Then I'm going to talk about what you need to do with all this information to become a real man, which is the real key behind this. Understanding it's very, very valuable, but implementing certain activities and practices is what's going to make you actually become a real man, a strong, empowered, best quality of yourself, best version of yourself that you can be. So the warrior archetype is the thing that I love about each of these is the names make it it gives you a taste instantly. The warrior is essentially someone that is an action taker, decisive, courageous, disciplined, and strong. Okay, so this is the one that's probably most similar to what that article was talking about, but they're talking more about the shadow qualities of this, and that's the way they epitomize the whole alpha male. It's just very silly. But a warrior is someone that gets things done, that makes things happen, but it's not in the conventional sense of the way that you might think of a warrior. You could think of a warrior as some messy, rampaging, crazy person on a battlefield with a thirst for blood. I want you to think more about the warrior as through the lens of being like a samurai. And there's this really cool story around this Yakuza style samurai in Japan who had an order to make a hit on someone, to kill someone. Now, this specific warrior in this story went to kill this person, was about to cut off their head with a samurai sword. Sounds crazy, but it's just the devotion to the action, to the role. And right before he was going to do it, the guy spat in his face, and it triggered this warrior. This warrior went out of his heart into his head, and he got enraged. But instead of using that rage to kill the person, he stopped, left the place, and the guy was like, yeah, you leave. You motherfucker, get out of here. And then he came back a week later so he could recompose himself and do the action from his heart. That is a great example that explains what it's like, what a really empowered, heart-centered, healthy warrior is. It's about doing things and making things happen that are for the service and the good of all. A conscious action taker, decisive person who's courageous, disciplined, and strong. Now, the opposite of it, or not the opposite of it, the quality with the shadow form is sadist and masochist. Okay? Now, these are, again, active. Sadist is the active, masochist is the passive. The active version means that is when they're really trying to do everything to have that quality. It goes out of the heart and becomes less about the healthy utilization of this energy for himself and for the good of himself and all. And it becomes more a selfish need to get, where he's disconnected from his heart and he's massively in his head. And that sadist means that they take pleasure in inflicting pain on others. Masochism is when someone takes pleasure in inflicting pain on themselves. Masochism is actually a term that's used to describe when someone hurts themselves during a sexual exercise, like choking themselves when they masturbate, to get off on it because they literally get off on pain. That's the most exaggerated form. But most people, the way that you could relate to your warrior energy, because we all have these archetypes in us, the way that you could relate to this masochist is as the self-sabotager. You know you don't want to be where you are. You know you don't want to eat that shit. You know you don't want to be lazy and all these things. But you just have gotten to a point where you just can't get yourself to do anything, and you're actually self-sabotaging. You know what's going to be for the best of you and the best of the world, but you don't do it because you're in this rhythm, this pattern of just getting some kind of addiction or self-satisfaction from pain being inflicted on yourself. That is the masochist. And this is the most common place that I see a lot of men in this warrior, in relation to the warrior. The sadist is like the way that alpha male is there. They put people down. They want to be bigger and better, and they want to take action for their own good, so they can prove that they're better than other people. And that is not what we're looking for here. This is really interesting. Again, society thinks a real man is someone that's playing in this little red negative quality. It could not be further from the truth of the complete, integrated, holistic version of what it means to be a true, high-quality man. So, my question to you is, like, you can rate yourself in these. Scale of 1 to 10, how much of an action taker are you? How decisive are you? How courageous are you? How disciplined are you? How strong are you? Now, strong is a subjective word, but I'm going to let you interpret what you want to take from that, because these are all subjective to the person. This is a very important point. A real man is not someone that is into a certain type of sport. A real man could be someone whose passion is painting, but they are decisive when it comes to that. I know who I am. I'm decisive. I'm courageous. I'm going to put my art out there for other people to see because I want them to enjoy it, and I want the best for me, and I want the best for the world. I take action. I'm actually painting. I'm disciplined. I show up and I do my craft every day, and I'm strong. I have confidence. I back myself. And that's for a painter. It could be a UFC fighter, right? It could be like George St. Pierre, who's like decisive, disciplined, strong, etc. It could be that, but it doesn't have to be the stereotypical male interests. It can help. I mean, exercise is healthy for anyone regardless, but it doesn't have to be that. It's what is your personality? What is your purpose? Where are you going to channel these things into what it means to be the best version of you? And that's when you connect to your heart and you transcend, and you're literally in the healthy version of the warrior. This is all very constructive. This is helping you actualize your heart's desires. It's very, very cool. So this whole thing as well, because it's the masculine archetypes, what causes attraction between men and women in the heterosexual sense is polarity. It's kind of like a magnet where you have the two opposite sides, two magnets with the opposite polar fields, energetic magnetic fields go boom, they connect in. Same thing happens in sexual chemistry between heterosexual men and women. If they're exuding and embodying the masculine and feminine energy, the more different that energy, the more they're in the possessing what it means to be the man and the woman, the more there's going to have that sexual attraction. So this is also great to understand and not misconstrue that these shadow poles are going to actually create that attraction. Now, the contrary to what I just said, it can, if the person that's being pulled to it is also unhealthy and wounded and disconnected from their heart. So what I mean by that is, like, if you want to attract a woman who is very healthy, she's not going to be attracted to people men that are more living in these shadow qualities. But if you're really exuding really powerful versions of each of these archetypes, but in the shadow forms, there could be a woman that's disconnected from her heart massively that's really attracted to it. And you see it all the time. You see, my friend told me a story about a co-worker who expected her man, when there was road rage incidents, to get out of the car and bash the person. Now, that woman is super wounded. The fact that she wants her partner to inflict pain on somebody else, that means that's sadism for the man if he was to do that. And the woman's attracted to that because she's unhealthy and he's unhealthy. And from an attraction perspective, what this is known as is, like, you can meet somebody and connect heart to heart, health to health, or wound to wound. And this is why doing work on yourself and transcending the disconnection from your heart, which is a safety mechanism that people have where they disconnected from their heart because they had their heart open and they were hurt at some point. Now they're walking around with their heart closed off. They're aggressive, angry, distant, disconnected. And you can attract someone. And a great example of that is the movie with Hayley Quinn. What's the name of that movie? Do you remember it?
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey is her movie, but then the Squad, Suicide Squad. So in Suicide Squad, you've got Margot Robbie that's playing that psycho crazy chick, Hayley Quinn, and then she's she's with the Joker. They love each other. There's no way that, and they have massive polarity because they're hardcore in the unhealthy versions of these qualities. So there's still that polarity, there's still the attraction. But they don't cross over. Like, I'm a healthy, well-rounded, integrated man. Everyone's got room for growth, but I'm very healthy. When I see a woman that's just like, if I see a woman that's like super dressed up, very attractive with her body and that kind of thing, but I can tell that she's kind of like angry or distant or even smoking a cigarette, for me, I just go, not attracted to that personally, because I know that there's some unhealthy qualities here. Even if she's hot as, you know what I mean? I'm not attracted to it, but I used to be when I was in my wounded state and I wasn't a healthy, integrated man. I was attracted to it. So that's a really important understanding here. You are going to attract the highest quality women if you're connected to the healthy version of it. But you could still meet some hot chick that is just like, doesn't get on with her family, hates her job, just has a bit of a sour energy to her. You could attract someone like that without being in the healthy version of them. You're just going to have a very disconnected, wounded, unhealthy life, which is going to suck. So don't do it. Let's go to the healthy versions. But that's the warrior. The warrior is someone that gets things done, takes action, is decisive, courageous, disciplined, and strong. So I want you to reflect and go, are you strong or weak in that area? Is this an area where you're like, I've got some growth to be had, or is it like, I'm pretty solid in this area? This is really important. These are all really important. Let's move to the next one. The magician. See, the warrior is one that society, and I started with this because it's the most recognizable. The magician and the lover and the king to a certain degree, but more the magician and lover, aren't thought about in terms of masculine qualities. Most people will never even think about these being masculine qualities, but they are, and they're very important qualities. So the magician is someone who is intuitive, aware, perceptive, intelligent, patient, and measured. And patient and measured, I could have just done a little slap. It would have been so much better if I just gone and just cross that out. So it's 5, 5, 5, 5. my inner OCD. But these qualities is essentially someone who's more connected to spirituality. This is someone that is more grounded in their approach to life. Intuition is essentially a sense for what's needed. You can use the word discerning or discernment, which is essentially the ability to detect subtleties. And so when someone is intuitive, intuitive, aware, and perceptive are all kind of synonyms. They all overlap. So awareness is when the opposite of it is ignorance. Okay? Awareness and ignorance are the opposite. So awareness, intuition, and perceptivity is all the fact that they are clear in their mind. They're clear in their mind. So the magician, someone that can create magic, intuition creates magic, it takes a degree of clearing the thoughts of the mind. So the opposite of the magician is someone that's really, really busy, really, really confused, and really, really lost. The magician is very, very aware, very clear, knows what's happening, can perceive where they're going, can perceive things in advance, is very rarely just completely caught off guard with where, I can't believe I just got fired. It's like you could see, you could get a gist. You're not just in your head all the time walking around like a robot. It's like, no, I've got a rough perceptive awareness. I can kind of feel into what's happening in a situation. I can tell there's a problem. And you see a lot of businessmen deeply disconnected from this. Because the magician's, again, polarity, the confusion, head-based thing is very intellectual. This is about intelligence, but intellectual intelligence is one form of intelligence, but the intellect can actually block the access to the magician. The intellect is the part of your head that desires control. And the reason why is because it feels safe with control. And so you see a lot of, if you know a man that is skeptical, a skeptical man is the opposite of the magician. A confused man is the opposite of the magician. The magician doesn't have to be skeptical because skeptical is a defense mechanism, trying to, oh no, I'm losing control. Someone's like, hey, have you thought about viewing, instead of having a job working for someone else, why would I do that? That's risky. That's deflective. That is the opposite of, interesting. I'll do some research into it. I'll feel into it. That's a healthy response. That's more magician-like. Intuition, awareness. So again, the opposite is ignorance. And people are only ignorant. They turn, I don't want to hear that. Shut up. I don't want to hear that. That kind of energy happens because they're scared of being proven wrong because they're actually clinging onto something that's making them feel in control when it's actually going to lead to their ultimate demise. Okay? And this is where people are like, I don't want to hear about it. And then, because they're blocking, see, we all have an inner knowing of the changes that are happening around us in life. So people have, everyone can kind of perceive whether someone likes them, doesn't like them, their job's going well. But the people that are the most kind of thrown off guard with this stuff are the people that are the most disconnected from their feeling because they're stuck in logic. And this is where you'll say, I was completely clueless that she left me. It's like the signs would have been there for years or months. But if you're not aware and perceptive, you would have no idea because you're just like, I just go about the same thing. That makes sense. That's logical. That's the opposite of the magician. The magician is very shamanic. Shamanic is the person that has access to spirit and can therefore download the intelligence of the universe, which sounds esoterical, and it is. It's more vague because it's less concrete, because it's feeling and it's versus logic. But this is where the juice is. And so when someone's perceptive and aware and they have a knowing clarity leads to groundedness. So think of a man as, I just don't know what my purpose is. I'm just confused. Where am I going? What am I doing? That's very unattractive to a woman. And the reason why is because they're lost. And if someone's lost, they miss things. There's risk. They're a flight risk. They don't know what's going to happen. They'll just stay stubborn to, no, this is the job. And then they get fired and then they're like, blame all that on everyone else. And these are the two, see, I'll go into the shadow qualities in a sec, but if you're aware and perceptive, you can have patience. because you're not desperate to be somewhere other than you are, because you understand the pace and how to work with life. You're not like desperate to try to make something work, because there's not that intellectual confusion of, oh, I hope this works, the control. It's like, I know where I'm going. I know this is going to eventuate. There's a groundedness. I know if I keep going in business and I improve and I get a coach and I take action, I know I'm going to make it. Of course I'm going to make it. Because I'm aware, I'm not stupid, I'm intelligent, right? I'm grounded, I'm perceptive. As a result, I can be measured and patient. It's not rushing, headiness, overthinking, ignorance, unclear, confusion. They're like what happened when someone doesn't have this. But when someone has this in a negative form, in a shadow form, they use their kind of like knowledge and perceptiveness to manipulate other people. This is something that's interesting that changed within me as I started to become more and more intuitive and perceptive. I'm going to say this, it might come across weird, but I cannot sleep with someone and have a one-night stand. At this point, I can't do it. Because the sort of person that I'm attracted to and who's attracted to me, meeting on the healthy level, they don't really want that most of the time. There might be some really, really conscious, tantric kind of person that might want it. But most people that really value themselves and value their time and their energy and their life and what makes fulfillment, because a lot of the time a one-night stand is kind of short-term gratification, wanting a hit. And I don't prioritize short-term gratification as much as I used to. And the sort of woman that I'm into doesn't either. And so the sort of person that would want to have a one-night stand is usually someone that's like slightly lower vibration. And as a result, I feel like a manipulator. If I'm like in a state where I'm feeling a bit frisky, you know what I'm talking about as a man, when it's like, oh, my sexuality, like, let's get this thing going. And I see someone, it's like, boom, like I feel an attraction to them. I know that because I have perceptiveness and awareness and I'm intelligent, I feel like I'm manipulating someone if I'm going to get them in the bedroom, which I know I could do very easily because it's just not difficult to do. But I feel like a manipulator and I don't do it because it doesn't feel aligned with who I am. On the opposite end of it, so the manipulator is when someone uses their intelligence for the benefit of themselves, knowing that it's not going to be good for somebody else. And the thing that's interesting talking about that sexuality topic is that I'm pretty sure it's dopamine. It's not dopamine. It's one of the main positive hormones that are, maybe it's serotonin, maybe it's dopamine. I think it's dopamine. That essentially when you make love to a woman, there's a lot of dopamine that's released for that within that woman. And it creates a feeling of attachment. When a man doesn't get the same level. He starts to get a tiny amount, but not the same level. For a woman, for a man, when a man commits to a woman, that same feeling of attachment comes in. So when a man commits to a woman, he feels attached. When a woman sleeps with a man, she feels attached. So me knowing that, having that extra perceptivity and awareness and having that intelligence, that knowledge, that wisdom, sleeping with someone knowing that they're going to be more attached to me, knowing I don't want to be with them, just doesn't feel right. It goes against. So I just wanted to mention that. And I feel like a manipulator. And so therefore I don't do it. But I have the awareness, right? So that's a healthy version. Someone that's clear, they feel into where they're going. It also allows them to be more self-sourcing. You see, when someone's not intuitive, aware, perceptive, they're constantly looking for answers outside of themselves. I just got to get to that place. Can you tell me like how? And someone, when they go looking for advice, they always keep asking how, but how? Or what about this? Because they think the advice is going to get them somewhere. No. You're a leader. If you know where you're going, you're grounded, you can be patient, you can be measured. You're not desperate to try to get the answer. You're not confused. You're clear. You know where you're going. You know, sometimes you might be in I'm not actually sure what's going to happen here, but you're curious because you're still grounded and measured, okay? So to cover off these shadow qualities, when someone's connected to this intelligent form, but they use it for their own self-interest because they're disconnected from their heart, that's essentially like the manipulator or abuser role. But then they also will fly to the innocent one. Oh, no, I didn't know. Oh, I'm a victim. It's like, nah. But they know, but they just play the victim role. It's not actually being a victim. They put on the victim. So they'll go to work and they'll use a lot of excuses. They knew they needed to get the thing done. They just didn't get it done. And now they're playing the victim. Oh, no, and they lie. There's a lot of lying when they're in the passive shadow form. A lot of lying, a lot of excuse giving, a lot of playing the role of a victim, even though they know. They might go in and try to return an item where they snipped, like I don't know, returned, like I returned some shoes the other day that had a faulty thing and I got a new pair. This version might go in and they might actually pull the stitches out or something like that and return it and then say, I want a refund. Because they're using their intelligence in an unfair way, disconnected from their heart. This morning, I'll give you an example. This morning, I was in a car crash. Now, I bumped into someone. I was a little bit tired, I wasn't focusing, and I clipped someone. And even if this person said to me, oh, it was probably both of our fault, let's split the cost, I was like, no, I think it's my fault, I'll pay it. Because that's integrity. But what the manipulator would do would be trying to I actually went to court once on behalf of my insurance company because this taxi that sideswiped me essentially said I recorded this person on my phone admitting fault because they didn't stop at a stop sign and flew out of an alleyway and smashed it into the side of my car. It's crazy bad driving. And I recorded him admitting fault. Then I went to court and this guy just lied in the court. I was looking, I was like, man, we spoke about this. And he lied. And then I whipped out the audio recording and I was like, well, how about this? And I played the whole audio recording and then the guy was like, oh crap. And then he lost the court case. I had insurance anyway. It was nothing against me, but I showed up for my insurance company. But he was in the victim mode. No, this is this. He lied and it was in the victim mode. And that will ultimately lead to their demise anyway. But the magician is aware, is perceptive, is patient, therefore, and measured. Doesn't matter if there's something that stuffs up. Today I was thinking, it's going to cost me some money. It's all good. It's my mistake. What can I learn from it? All right? That's the magician. So the warrior's item, prop, is the sword. The magician's is a crystal ball. Because it's almost like they can see. They have an intelligence to understand what's coming. Let's go to the lover. The lover is something that is the most feminine, but it's still a masculine quality for what it means to be a full masculine man, a real man. And these are the qualities: connected, joyous and fun, healthy in the physical sense, mentally, emotional, spiritual, physical, passionate, and spiritual. And I'll explain that spiritual element when we get to it. So for a man to be a full man, they need to have a sense of connectedness to other people and other things. A lot of men that are unhealthy and are not fully integrated might have a strong warrior, might have a strong magician. You can't have a strong king without all three of these. So they might be a strong warrior and magician. They're intuitive. This is where I need to go next. Boom, get it done. Boom, get it done. Workaholics are disconnected. They lack the lover. The lover is someone who is connected. And that sense of connectedness, it comes, and these all mush in together. They all overlap. All of these overlap. But that patience, because they understand where they're going, gives them the ability to open their heart to the idea of wanting to be fulfilled. This whole lover is all about fulfillment. I'm aware. I'm not trying to prove myself and desperately get somewhere. It's like I'm a man. I like building things. I like achieving things. I like constructing things. I like trying to make a difference and growing myself. Cool. But I'm not going to let it come at the substitute of my health. I'm not going to let it come at the substitute of my connection with my family, my friends. And I was so disconnected from this element of myself when I was in the hardcore, I would say, sadist, tyrant mode, even manipulator, I would say that I had. And Remember, these labels are the most intense. There can be subtle forms. Like the masochist doesn't mean you're choking yourself off with a belt when you're masturbating. It can just mean you're self-sabotaging. And so I was absolutely disconnected from this, because I was just like trying to get somewhere, which is not a healthy integrated man. The healthy integrated man's like, I know who I am. I know where I am. I know where I'm going. There's no rush. I'm going to enjoy as well. And there's that balance. And that actually makes this person a better leader. And remember, these three all feed back into the king. And if you think about a movie with a healthy king, they'll enjoy a nice meal with the leaders in their war, within the war that fought in the war, their warriors. They'll have a nice meal, they'll celebrate, they'll have fun, they'll go and speak to their relatives and have chats with them and help them. You know, they've got time and they're connected to that lover. And so if you're not giving yourself permission for joy, if you're not giving yourself permission to have fun, or I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time to exercise, it's absolute nonsense. It's just disconnection from the lover. The other thing is passion. Passion is essentially the lover infused into the warrior. See, when I started my business, I started with a lot of passion. At the moment, I shit you not, I am loving doing this video. I love this shit because I do in business what I love doing. I do Facebook Lives every day because I love doing Facebook Lives. I'm wanting people to ask me questions on them because I love it and I'm connected to my passion. When I was disconnected from the lover archetype and I'd grown in business a lot, it became more about the success. I was disconnected from my heart, loving myself, and I was trying to prove myself and fill a void. And that meant I don't have time for my health. I don't have time to do the things that I enjoy. What does a business need? Screw it. We cancel that seminar. We don't have time for that. Or get rid of this person. We don't have time for this. I've only got time to work on the important stuff. We need to get our numbers up, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, the most powerful man is the fully integrated man. And the reason why is you're way more sustainable. If you are passionate and doing what you love, you're going to keep doing it. It's called inspired challenge. This allows the king to keep inspired because he stays towards his strengths and what he loves doing, and he stays passionate. Healthy is self-explanatory, but I've got a video that talks about the elements of energy and health. So go check that out. That's very, very important. Connectedness, time for other people. Spiritual. Spiritual is an important one because the lover doesn't just have a sense of love and devotion for their friends and family, to their hobbies, to their interests, to what they're good at. They've also got a sense of devotion to faith and spirit and sacredness. So the lover might, for example, say some words of gratitude before they eat a meal. Yeah, I'm grateful for the fact that this animal died. That's a sense of connectedness. That's a sense of to all living things. There's a sense of empathy and compassion. You see, these aren't just these other 5 things. No, there's more than meets the eye here. These are just 5 qualities that give you a good rough idea, but there's a lot to it. So a sense of compassion and empathy comes from the lover as well. You'll notice when you hurt someone's feelings, and probably because you're perceptive and aware, will future pace and deliver things in a really effective way. But also, if you do make a mistake, because you're in your heart, you apologize and go, I missed that one. Okay? Because you've got a sense of reverence, compassion, empathy, a sense of connectedness to spirit. What I like to call sacredness. I had the idea and intention the whole of last year to connect more to sacredness. And what that meant is when I do something, I take time to enjoy it. It's like presence. Presence is another massive one in here. The lover is present, can be there, and because he has time. And that's why these overlap. But spiritual means I'm connected I'm present. I have a sense of empathy and compassion and gratitude and like magic. I see the magic. I create magic moments, right? Because it's not like, should we go in? Should we go in the water? I don't have time for that. I'm going to get all dirty and I've got work to do. It's like, just take the time. Enjoy your life, right? And so the shadow qualities of the lover are when someone is very much in this, but disconnected from their heart. Disconnected from their heart can be lacking fulfillment. Empty versus whole. When someone's whole, conscious, heart-centered, that's this. When they're empty, heady, and trying to prove themselves and feeling not enough, that's when they get into this place. So this is the perfect time to bring in this quote. And if you're finding this video valuable as well, I always write like and subscribe on here to remind me. Drop us a like on this video. It helps the YouTube algorithm push the message out there, which will mean the world to me. And subscribe so you can hold yourself accountable to being on this journey of personal growth. Keep learning alongside me. I'm going to give you more and more videos. Keep releasing them because I love this stuff. It's my passion. And it would be awesome to have you on the channel. So this quote is massive. It's one of the biggest gifts you can get from understanding this model. And remember, I've spent 200 hours studying all this stuff. I'm giving it to you in however long this video is going to be, which is a long video, right? Whatever is suppressed will be expressed unhealthily. I'll say that again. Whatever is suppressed will be expressed unhealthily for each of these archetypes. So if you're kind of like not going after things, not taking action, not being decisive, not being courageous, you're struggling with discipline, you're feeling weak, you don't have any of these warrior qualities, you're not exercising that part of you, that coding within you that is innate, but it's being suppressed, it will be expressed, just unhealthily. And so a lot of people are passive aggressive, a lot of men are passive aggressive in their relationship. There's this passive aggressiveness where they're like short-tempered and kind of like get in arguments all the time because they're not bringing their warrior out in the world. They're not going after what they want. And therefore there's a leakiness in their relationship. It's still being expressed, just unhealthily. The same thing in the lover. If you're not taking the time to do what you love and you're just pummeling yourself, you're going to be short-term gratification like crazy. And that is because the active shadow quality of the lover is the addict. That is essentially short-term gratification, short-term gratification, short-term gratification. Let me name a few short-term gratification things. Compulsively masturbating, porn, sex, sugar, caffeine, any substances. It could be trying to get a high from like overworking and being addicted to work. You could just be smashing coffees all the time. This is what the addict does because it's still, whatever gets suppressed, if you're suppressing this, it will be expressed unhealthily in the form of unhealthy addictions. But if you're giving yourself permission to enjoy what you do, you're also more patient and measured because you're more full and you're connected to your heart. You're enjoying the connection on the sales call with someone. You're enjoying the fact that you've got staff and you're enjoying that relationship. Therefore, you're not going to be feeling that you're pushing down the part of you that wants to experience some joy. It's not going to come raging out in the form of short-term gratification, smashing drugs, being on social media all the time is a massive one. Addicted to social media, right? Watching YouTube videos, just maybe you're doing it now. I don't know, but don't like, we all have all of these and we all slip into the shadow poles at times. I'm not walking around 24/7 connected, joyous, healthy. Sometimes I'll have a time when I do slip and I go, that's interesting. Wonder why. Well, I've been burning the candle at both ends. Maybe I need to pull it back a little bit and give myself some more opportunity to get my health back on track, connect, do some things that I enjoy a bit more and realign. No one's perfect, but it's very important to understand that if you're showing addictive tendencies, it's probably because you're not giving yourself enough permission to pursue things proactively that you love. It's kind of like a reactive thing with need a hit, okay? And the passive version is impotency. And impotency, if you don't know, is when someone has trouble in the bedroom. They struggle to perform. And this could be looked like at anxiety. It could be looked at shyness, impotency. It could be someone that's just really meek. It's like more connected to the lover, really strong lover, but it's disconnected from their heart and they're like, not very good. When you're in your heart, You show yourself more. You want to spread love to other people because it's within you. You've got an overflowing cup. And it's like, I want to connect with people. I want to build them up. I want to compliment people. I want to connect. I want to bring fun. I want to bring health to me and that energy, that vibrancy to others. Love the lover. You got to bring some of that lover in. And think about it from a woman's perspective, a healthy woman. Think about it from your perspective with who you would love to be with. Do you want to be with someone that's disconnected and addicted to things and just constantly watching TV at the end of the day because they hate their job? Or do you want to be with someone that's like loves their job, they come home, they want to have fun, you're cooking, you're throwing a little bit of pasta sauce at each other, you want to be with someone that's fun. And the same thing goes, like this is an attractive quality. And so if we go to that sexist, aggressive description that I read out early, the macho man, I'm too good for that. Don't be a pussy, brother. It's like, that's complete just suppression of this. They'll still bring it out. These guys are like jerking it off to porn every night. It's a real healthy man there, sarcastically saying. So the lover is a very important and beautiful archetypal energy to embrace. So we have the warrior, the magician, and the lover. Bring it all in, and you have permission to exercise leadership at the highest form, because the king needs to be a warrior, a lover, and a magician all in one. But there are specific tendencies and qualities that the king specifically has that are unique to the king. Groundedness, self-worth, orderly, empowering, and constructive. So groundedness was the one thing that I was looking for so long within myself. Being into personal development and growth, I was doing the things, meaning I was successful. I'd attracted a woman I attracted a woman in my life who I thought was incredible. I was like doing the health things. I was like, what's missing? Like, why do I have, like, I'm confident, but it's a hypey confident. It's not unconditional. I don't have grounded confidence. That is a quality of the king. There's grounded confidence. It's not a forced thing. It's just, yeah, no, I'm pretty awesome. Like, I know I'm a great person. I know I've got really good intentions. I love who I am. I love being who I am. That's groundedness. And then that person feeling that way can also mirror that onto others. If you love yourself and accept yourself for who you are, you're going to be more accepting of others. When you reject parts of yourself, anything that other people do that you haven't given yourself permission to do, you start getting pissed off that other people are doing it. You're like, I did this when I was massively into business. When people gave themselves permission to rest, it would trigger me. I'd get pissed off. I'd be like, look at this person, they're lazy, they're not working as hard. Because deep down, I wasn't even accepting the part of me that desired rest, that desired play, that desired fun, health, right? And so I'd get triggered by other people. Same thing when it came to flying the opposite way. And I went, you know what, I'm gonna go hippie mode and relax and rejuvenate. And then I wasn't giving myself permission to work hard because I was judging that part of me that was like hardcore working hard in the past. And therefore I judged other people that worked hard at that time. Because I didn't accept these different parts of me, I judged other people that had them at those times. But the king is grounded, and that groundedness gives him permission to be more accepting of different people. Less judgmental, more heart-centered, right? That groundedness is a big thing that's so beautiful, and it makes a woman feel safe. If you're grounded, it's just, I'm relaxed, I know who I am, I'm not as anxious. And that comes from self-worth. This is why working on yourself and learning to love yourself sounds kind of like the way that society would think about it, feminine, self-love. Let's have some massage and rub each other's backs. But actually, it is beautiful, and it is so important for you to be a healthy, integrated, real man, to know who you are, love who you are, and be proud of who you are. Self-worth in a grounded way. That is why personal development is so important. So what are the activities that I prescribe, like mirror work, like doing the ritual, like meditating? These all help these. We'll get more to that later, but self-worth is something that is it's a long-term pursuit to develop. It's something that you grow and grow and grow, small piece at a time over a long period of time. But it's a journey that if you devote yourself to now, before you know it, you're going to be exuding qualities of a king. So you have self-worth. Orderly. Orderly doesn't mean you're an organization machine. Orderly means that your presence makes other people feel empowered, essentially. It is the combination of these two things, empowering and constructive. If we go back to that article that I keep shaming, that article, and the reason why is because it's uplifting the thing that is going to make the world a more destructive place. When you're striving to love yourself, you automatically empower other people. You want other people to do well because you're feeling full, and you know that your fulfillment is going to come from you helping other people feel full as well. So you want other people to be doing well. And so someone that is orderly, it means that when they're around, things go smoothly. When you're around, other people feel inspired. When you're around, people want to be kind to other people. They feel safe. You know, if you go into an environment and because the king is leadership. That's what it is. If you go into a workplace where there is a societally accepting alpha male that's a little bit aggressive, macho, let's say it's a sales team environment, I don't know about you, but I've had lots of experiences where I can clearly define, I've jumped into a kind of like, what you could say is like a bit of a boys club, where people are hanging shit on each other and talking each other down. And I instantly go into this environment, and the further along I go, the more my presence helps influence the environment to lift up and be less like this. But in the past, and the further back I go, the more this was obvious. I would go in there and I feel like I'd start hanging shit on other people. And the culture is people, what are you doing? And that person then bags that other person, and that person's talking about that person behind their back. And that's the sort of environment that is created around somebody that is not exuding the qualities of leadership, that doesn't have that self-worth and that groundedness. And as a result, is not empowering. People don't feel safe and ordered in that environment. They feel like it's chaos. I don't know what's going to happen. Is that person going to leave? That person's talking shit about that person. It's not a kind, uplifting, inspiring environment. That's why king energy is really important, but you need to be aware and perceptive, intelligent. You need to be healthy, connected to other people. You need to be patient. You need to be measured. You need to be an action taker who's courageous, but also disciplined, who's decisive and strong to be a full king. And the king with his crown there, it's constructiveness. However, when someone's got a lot of king energy and it's in the shadow qualities, again, disconnected from their heart, empty versus full, they try to force themselves into leadership. I need to be in charge because I want to get things done for me in my way. So you could say Donald Trump is a bit of a tyrant, right? It's obviously a little bit of a taboo topic, but you just go, is Donald Trump in there because he's genuinely connected to his heart? He's creating order because he's jumped in, and then people, like I would say Barack Obama, just from this archetypal standpoint, when he got in, people behaved more cohesively. It's like, because he comes in, his presence is he's more grounded, he has more self-worth, he's more uplifting, he's more empowering and constructive. And so when he comes in, there's more order, there's more respect, he also has some joy and some fun, some connectedness. He's healthy, right? You look at Donald Trump, he just looks unhealthy. And so that's a great example of leadership. And that doesn't mean that this is not a political conversation. It's just, you can see this. It's tyrannical because it's for a self-interest, not for the interest of the good of the world, right? The opposite of that, and the reason why the person wants to spring themselves into leadership, is because they feel weak and they try to compensate by getting power. Oh, I'm threatened, I'm not good enough, I need to prove myself, I need to take control. Weakling, tyrant. Weakling, tyrant. And you can go do this for all of this. Masochist, sadist. You go, I'm a victim, manipulate. I'm impotent, and now I'm addicted. Impotent and addicted. So people bounce with all of these archetypes from the passive, which is the kind of, it's the rejection of this part of themselves and being paralyzed by this part of themselves, to then the desperate to have this archetypal energy and use it for their own benefit. I've got to inflict pain on others because it feels good for me. I've got to be in leadership so I'm in control. I've got to be able to use my intelligence to manipulate other people so I get what I want. You know, it's the addiction. I need all these things because I need to feel good. So get in me like short-term gratification. So now that we have an understanding of all of these beautiful qualities, these 4 archetypes, how cool is this? How cool is this model? It's so freaking awesome. I love it. What I want you doing now, the secret steps to unlock them. There's 2 ways that I like to view and get value from understanding all of this. The first homework task I'm going to set you is to buy the book, King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, so you can go even deeper into this. That's the first homework task. The second one is I want you to do an audit of yourself and just go, where are you strong and where are you weak? Okay, which like out of all of these is the area that you have the most room for improvement in? And you might be like, well, to be honest with you, all of them. I certainly did that myself. It's like, I want to grow in all of these, but which is the one that's like the weakest? And then what I want you to do is consciously figure out some activities that you can do that are automatically strengthening this. So if it's like the magician one, which is the hardest one to answer this question with, the hardest one to find spiritual practices with, you might literally do a course or a meditation course. So that you're clearing your thoughts, you're less busy, and you're starting to have more space in your mind. Because meditation, when you're doing a being technique or a witnessing technique, which I'll link again, another one to link, video to this style of meditation that is going to help you develop your awareness, then you're more perceptive. So maybe you start meditating more for this. If your lover is your weakest, then creating some time and space to the reason I'm saying an activity is because when you start an activity, then you're going to strengthen it and it's not a once-off. I could give you heaps of things that you could do as a once-off. Do a cacao ceremony. Experiment with a shaman, a experienced shaman, doing psychedelics. But that's a once-off thing. It'd be much cooler if you were doing a consistent practice of meditation. For a lover, if you connect and you find an activity that you love, like let's say you used to play sport but you're not doing it as much, boom, double whammy, fun and healthy and passion and connectedness to other people if it's a team sport. Enroll in the sport. Or like if it's join an interest group, do something that, or like you might do dance classes, but buy 10 of them or 20 of them so that you have that consistency, that the practice is going to develop that part of you. And you see the lover's prop is the smile. The lover's prop is the smile. The warrior, it could be that you hire a coach that can stretch you in business and have you take more action, be more decisive. It's going to take courage. It could be hiring a career coach. It could be starting some kind of sport or type of exercise that demand, like martial arts or kickboxing. Something that requires strength, discipline, courage, and regular action. That would be fantastic for the warrior. Or if you're like really aspiring, you could start a business or get a job that encourages and gives you the space to practice these. The cool thing is when you're not, jeez, that was intense. When you're not exuding these specific qualities, practicing these things seem inconvenient. Like if you don't have the lover and you don't feel like you've got time for it, spending time for a family dinner feels inconvenient. When you've disconnected and suppressed your warrior, going and doing some hard work in the yard feels like a fucking inconvenience. But when you go, okay, I want to be a strong, integrated, healthy, empowered man. I want to be a king of my life. I want to practice this. You actually start wanting to do the things that were previously inconvenient. I know for me, in the past, it's like, I don't want to do this exercise. I don't want to do these chores. But I'm like, hang on, this is a chance to practice discipline. Great, let's do it. And it gets you actually appreciating the way that things sculpt you with your character, which will ultimately allow you to go out there and actualize your dreams, attract the most amazing woman or have the most amazing woman that you're already with attracted to you. So that's the warrior. And king, leadership. Join a leadership program. That could be a great thing to do. Something to do with personal development would be amazing. Some kind of personal development course or a life coach. Someone that could help you through some trauma work so you can love yourself more unconditionally. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful one to lean into. But whatever your stretch is, I want you to lean into that. And I want you to jump in the comments before I give you the next thing. I want you to jump in the comments and say, what is the thing that you're going to do? And I look at the comments. I'd love to see what you're going to lean into to take action from this. Give yourself the opportunity to do this. Give yourself permission to do this. It's so easy to negate this and be like, oh, I'm not going to take action. It was just fun to learn about it. You deserve to grow yourself. You deserve to be a stronger, more integrated man. You do deserve it, but you've got to do the action. So comment, what are you going to do? And do it. You got this. So that's that. The second thing that I find really helpful with this whole model, obviously I lean into my edges where I feel like I've got a stretch, I'll lean into it. So I grow that element to myself that is currently being suppressed, or it's just not, it's weak and it's not fully functioning in my life. The second thing that I like to do is constantly witness where my unhealthy expressions are in life. You know how I said whatever is being suppressed will be expressed unhealthily? Look at the weak area and just ask yourself, where is this being unhealthily expressed? So I didn't really talk about that much with the king. So just quickly on the king, if you're not exercising the king, you will still express the king's qualities more in the tyrant form with judgment, because you don't have the self-worth. You'll start trying to like get control over other people, right? Because the king wants to be in control, be significant. So maybe you're like feeling really insecure is the way that it's being expressed, with insecurity, where you get frustrated at your partner for looking at somebody else, or you get frustrated at someone for not spending time with you, or not complimenting you on the thing you achieved, or not appreciating you enough. And you're like, why am I not being appreciated enough? Because you're trying to unhealthily take the significance that is automatically internal within the grounded king. He knows that he's worthy, so he doesn't try to seek the worth elsewhere. So where specifically are you expressing the qualities that you need work on in unhealthy ways? So you can be aware of it. And this is something that I want you to just really take into consideration. Where you're being unhealthy, where is it leaking out? And so in the future, when you can see yourself starting to leak in certain areas, you go, okay, crap. Now awesome. Now I'm aware of this. Now I can lean in and improve on it. So, this is the qualities. Take them on board. Lean in with a practice that you commit yourself to start improving it, and know this is a lifelong endeavor. This is something where the day that you die, you'll still have little elements on that day where you go into these other shadow forms, but it's just about how can you be more connected to your heart, conscious, and be in the healthy versions more often than not. So if you found this video valuable, click the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get access to the other videos, and comment and get new videos when they come out. And comment what is the practice that you're going to take into the future. And I'll see you guys in the next video.